Hi everyone, I'm George Farrar. Welcome to JAX 95, Jacksonville as it was in the year 1995. The year 1995 was Jacksonville's time to shine. The Jaguars played the first home preseason and first season games in the new NFL stadium. And for the first time since 1888, Jacksonville elected a Republican mayor. And for the first time ever, Duval County elected an African-American sheriff. So there was a lot happening. This was an incredibly historic year, and the attention of so many people was on Jacksonville. And so it was something amazing, particularly in August and September of 1995. Now here in November of 1995, we see newly elected Mayor John Delaney and Wayne Weaver. And we see the coach Tom Coughlin at a game. So let's talk about the election. Ed Austin was not going to run for a second term as mayor, so he endorses his chief of staff, John Delaney, who also was a big assistant for him in the state attorney's office before he became mayor. But all of this attracted prior mayors to run again for mayor. In the 1995 mayoral election, we had Jake Godbold. Now, after being mayor of Jacksonville, he later went on to being a commentator on WJXT TV4, and I would actually watch his commentaries and his remarks. And so that was something that was incredible to have not only Jake Godbold running again for mayor, but also Tommy Hazouri running again for mayor. Now, he had an action-packed one term, okay? But he wanted another term. And so he was going to join Godbold and City Councilman Harry Reagan and John Delaney to try to run again and win a second term as mayor, having been denied in 1991. So he got a lot accomplished, and so had Godbold. And so in this hilarious Ed Gamble political cartoon, we see where Jake and Tommy are duking it out. Reagan's in the background there, and Delaney is grabbed in by Jake with his tie. by his tie and into the ring to fight it out, and he's holding I think it says Delaney in, and he's Delaney saying, "I hope they want to talk about the issues." And of course, then you have the mayoral race heats up, and you have the big three candidates there. They're running TV ads, and so this is to kind of imply that they're running a lot of TV ads, television ads for people to watch that were attacking each other, and just the whole thing. Now, keep in mind, though, that years and years down the road, here's a modern picture of Tommy Hazouri and Jake Godbold, and they look to be having a good time. Both of them passed away during the production of this series, and there's a tribute on a prior show in our series, and I profiled their accomplishments, and they did a lot for the city, and they both had an incredible passion for the city. So the time came for the municipal election. So here we see the results from the 1995 city elections. These results are available from the Duval County Supervisor of Elections on the website, and we see as the results come in, we're going to see, first of all, these elections were held in spring. The city holds the elections for mayor, city council, city positions, things like that, in the spring. So when we take a look at the first election held on April 11th of 1995, we see that we have John Delaney, Jake Godbold, Tommy Hazouri, Steve Irvine, A.P. McElwain, and Harry Reagan. Interestingly, I remember Harry Reagan from his time when he was on WJXT TV4 as an editorial commentator. And he would talk about local issues. So John Delaney and Jake Godbold make it to the runoff on May 9th, 1995. And look how close the race was between them, Delaney and Godbold, in the first election and also then in the final May 9th runoff. And so John Delaney wins, becoming the first Republican since 1888 to become mayor of Jacksonville. But you can see that Jake Godbold wasn't that far behind. I remember back in 1995 how much I admired how John Delaney was able to accomplish being elected mayor and pushing for the River City Renaissance program. And I think, as we could see with the election results, there were a lot of people in Jacksonville that wanted what some might call a fresh start from someone incredibly dynamic. He exuded a radiance. Speaking of politicians that exude a radiance, President Bill Clinton visited Jacksonville in 1995 along with Attorney General Janet Reno. They were there to talk about a community policing initiative, and there's Sheriff Nat Glover with President Clinton. So a lot was going on. The city absolutely glowed in 1995. The sun cascading, whether it was on Jacksonville Beach or on the Mayport Ferry, couldn't have matched the spotlight, the sunlight that cascaded over the city with national recognition. And so I'm pleased to wrap up JAX 95 for you and to wrap up the 20-year series spanning the years 1975 to 1995. In August and September of 1995, the focus of my life was my first months at Florida State as a junior. I finally got out of Florida Community College at Jacksonville, and my father and my grandmother helped me move out of Jacksonville in 1995. Went to Florida State, and as they say, the rest is history. So I'm going to just leave you here as we go through my years growing up in Jacksonville. I lost my mother. I had my stepmother who helped me grow. When my father and my stepmother split abruptly in 1988, it was my grandmother who helped hold things together to ensure that I was able, in 1993, to graduate from Forest High School, now known as Westside High. I can always be thankful for the hard work of my father at WJXT TV for 25 years. He worked there, and he retired and then unexpectedly passed away in 2005. After he passed away, I moved back to Jacksonville from Orlando. My half-brother John passed away a couple years after I arrived back in Jacksonville. I got involved in numerous political activist activities. I would describe myself at the time and even today as a progressive. In 2012, I created the History Jacksonville History Series. I started out with it on my legacy YouTube channel, now known as Exploring with George. I intended it to really only be for 6 months. It ended up going on for a very long time. 8 seasons, 85 shows, 4 specials, and there are even more shows and specials, in addition to this 20-show series that's on the JAXLife Channel. So I decided to do this 20-year series spanning the years 1975 to 1995 because I had a lot to say. And if you watch the series from beginning to end, by JAX 80, you could start to hear me talking about what I remembered, not just history. And so I've had a lot of great opportunities within this series to talk with you about the Jacksonville I knew, the Jacksonville I knew growing up in the first 20 years of my life. And increasingly, show by show, I was able to talk more about what made Jacksonville, that was what made me. And I believe that the stories that I've told, the things that I've shown, are in a lot of ways also, tangentially, of course, the stories of the people of Jacksonville. So I've really enjoyed doing this series. Did you know we're on Facebook groups at History Jacksonville, where there is even more Jacksonville history to enjoy? Please check out theleftturnetwork.com for all my shows. Now is the time for me to say goodbye, and that is the hardest thing of all. Our last 2 shows in the JAXLife Channel before sign-off will be the commemorative musical tribute honoring Jacksonville's bicentennial and the sign-off. So, to you, the viewer, I say thank you, goodbye, and good luck.